users will not find hidden motherboard menus to unlock XGHZ settings for Ryzen 7000 by 3D. Those processors are officially locked for overclocking, at least in traditional way. To achieve the best performance out of the Ryzen 7950 by 3D, users must rely on technologies such as Precision Boost Overdrive 2 or Expo, memory overclocking profiles, but those will not give the best results. Scatterbencher goes into details explaining each of the possible strategies to unlock more performance out of Ryzen X 3D CPUs. He explains the differences between two of Raphael dies, chiplets, in the new Ryzen 9X 3D package. This is where we learn that CCD0, with 3D V-cache, has a lower max frequency limit of 5250 MHz and lower voltage limit of 1.2 volts, while the CCD1, without 3D V-cache, can go higher up to 5750 MHz and 1.4 volts. For comparison, the original 7950X SKU has just one max limit of 5850 MHz and 1.475 volts. With PbO2 and voltage, frequency curve optimizer enabled, overclocker can force the CPU to achieve higher frequencies. This requires a lot of fine-tuning, but this strategy can increase the max frequency to 5900 MHz. This method involves lowering a V/F curve to force the CPU clock to go higher, but there is actually an even better method that makes use of ECLK feature available for Raphael CPUs. Scatterbencher explains that Raphael ECLK, external clock generator, is available for Ryzen CPUs and how it can be used to push 7950 by 3D into higher clocks. In short, by changing ECLK to 105 MHz, a voltage frequency temperature point will increase from 5.0 GHz, 1.1 volts, 50 degrees Celsius to 5.25 GHz with the same voltage and temperature point. The point is, Ryzen 7000 by 3D series can still be overclocked, but this requires ECLK and VF adjustments, which may be complicated to some users. SP has a step-by-step guide. Furthermore, the mileage will vary depending on cooling solution, motherboard use and of course the capacities of each Ryzen sample. At stock, the CPU runs at 4255 MHz with all cores at 0.9 volts during Prime 95 testing. The temperature reportedly is 66.8 degrees Celsius while the full package consumes around 121.6 watts. By disabling AVX512 instructions, the clock speeds are increased to 4553 MHz, but this comes at a cost of higher temperature at 81.5 degrees Celsius and power measured at 134.2 watts. With ECLK, PbO, VF overclocking, Scatterbencher reports 4592 MHz, 83.3 degrees Celsius and 152.1 watts for AVX512 disabled Prime 95 workload. Remember, this is average frequency from all cores. This overclocking brought up to 9% better performance in synthetic tests that were used. Unfortunately, it brought minimal performance improvement for gaming, as shown by this slide. We may actually hear more about 7000 by 3D overclocking soon, as another known overclocker Derry Tower had already delidded the first unit. Contrary to what the renders have shown, there is not much of a visual difference between both dies in real-life photography. I hope you enjoyed this video. Also do not forget to like and subscribe, and ring the bell to be informed of our next videos. Until the next video, bye bye.